All right, hello everybody. Welcome to another episode of Jab Journals. My name is Dan Smith. I'm here again in Dynamic Box Club of Westland, Michigan, with head coach Chad Jaquillard. Chad, thanks for joining us today.
No problem.
How we doing? Had a big fight with Rico Quinn in December in Arizona. Obviously, coming off a big, spectacular win. What were you feeling like? You've known Rico since he was a kid and first started. Take me through what you were feeling in that moment.
Well, I mean, we knew we were going there as an underdog, and they picked us, and but we were prepared. I know we didn't have the best training camp that we're going to have this time coming around, but we just went out there and did our thing. We had a game plan. We stuck to it. We knew that it was going to be rough in the beginning. This guy was going to come off firing, and like Rico mentioned in the earlier podcast, that we just stayed relaxed, and we knew our time was going to come. Me personally, I didn't expect to see a knockout, a one-punch knockout. I'm glad it went down the way it did, but we didn't expect that. I figured Rico would finally start catching him about the 5th round, and then we would start picking him apart and probably stop him like 8th or 9th round. But we got him out of there in 5th, so that was perfect.
Yeah, early night, easy to go home and sleep after that, right? So, was there something that was said in the corner you think that turned Rico around, or do you think that it was just it just took him a minute to get the timing, and once he got it, like you said, he was going to just start catching them and end up winning?
We knew, like I said, the first couple rounds, we already knew like we were probably going to lose the first couple rounds, and we would get his timing by then. And by the 4th round, when he actually got knocked down again in the 4th round, when he came back to the corner, I told him, and he said, Coach, I'm trying to get it down. And I told him, I said, Rico, we came too far to try. Mm-hmm. Just let your hands go. Just do it. Believe in it. It's going to be there. And it just so happened it was the next round that he caught him.
Now we've talked, off the camera and stuff about the fight, what is it like as a trainer to watch your fighter go through a fight like that, where he's not hurt, he's not really outskilled or anything? It's just, just bad circumstances. Like, the 2 knockdowns weren't really like they were flash knockdowns. Mm-hmm. How do you keep him motivated and keep him, especially Rico in specific? Like, how do you keep him going?
Well, he was motivated. I was probably more nervous than he was, and that's how it is for every fight. I'm always more nervous than Rico is. He's so relaxed, cool, calm, and collected, and that's one of his advantages, that he takes the ring with him. My job is to make adjustments in between rounds if need be or whatever, give instructions, and he's a great listener. And I told him after the 4th round, I said, just let your hands go. We didn't come this far to try. Don't wait on him no more. Just let him go. And I didn't know what was going to happen the next round, but it did. So that was awesome.
Did you know as soon as he landed that punch that it was lights out?
I didn't know, because from my viewpoint, he was right in my corner, so I didn't even see the punch land. But when he went down, I was looking at his eyes, and I could tell. When I kept staring at his eyes and making sure he wasn't going to get up, and he wasn't going nowhere. So
yeah, when he fell, it was like the crowd just went crazy. Like, I don't think anyone was expecting it. To have, it was a packed crowd. Obviously, you guys weren't the main event, but people were there. Like, it was basically a full stadium at that point. Do you feel like, even as the trainer, like, obviously you're not going there to fight, do you feel like those butterflies going into big fights like that?
Like I said, I'm more nervous than Rico is, and especially on a big stage like that. I'm mic'd up in the corner. There's cameras in my face too, in the corner or whatever. So I'm always on more of an edge than Rico is, but right. He did his thing that night. He listened, and we had a game plan, and we stuck to it, and it worked.
Now, obviously Rico has fought on Showtime a couple times before that, so you've been in high pressure situations like that before. Take me through like the difference between like a local club show or even like an amateur boxing show to a big card like the Showtime and DAZN fights.
Well, the big difference is the opponent. Mm-hmm. At a local club show, local club shows, they match you with guys that are going to make you look good or bring you up better or test you just a little bit. On the big stage, we're like the B-side. We're going in there. It's an even 50-50 fight. So that's the big difference between even amateur show or club show compared to being on the big stage where there's cameras, or whatever. So
now we touched on it a little bit before. You've been with Rico since he walked in the gym. Did you see something special in him when he first started coming to the gym? Did it take time for him to kind of get into his own? Like, take me through that. How did you feel about him?
I remember when him and his brother both came down here. They were both, first of all, naturally talented. I mean, you got to give them that.
Natural athletes.
Yeah, natural athletes. And they worked hard. They came every day. They trained hard. They focused on what they were doing. They didn't come in here and talk to all their friends and, walk around and not work hard. They earned where they're at. They earned it. And Rico is still earning it right now because of his work ethic.
Now, you've been around boxing for most of your life now, right? I mean, how old were you when you started fighting?
I was 10, so 35 years I've been in a boxing.
Right, and down in Toledo Boxing Gym, Class City Boxing Club. Coming up through the amateurs, the transition from a fighter to a trainer, was that an easy transition for you?
It wasn't too bad. Like I said, I've always been in the gym, so and before I even moved to Michigan, I started coaching in Toledo at my gym at Glass City, and so I got my feet wet down there. And then when I moved to Michigan, I was itching to find a gym to come and start coaching, and I found Dynamic Boxing Club. So been there ever since.
Yeah, and you've been the head coach for as long as I can remember of the gym. So, I mean, training, amateurs. Obviously, when the gym first opened up, we didn't have any professional fighters. We just started training amateurs and doing local shows, and then obviously local tournaments. What was the build-up like? Because you've had pros before, Rico. Mm-hmm. So was it difficult to go from training amateurs to training pros to training both at the same time?
It wasn't difficult because we're in the gym and we do the same thing every day. Obviously, when it comes to professionals, you kind of up that training and you do different things. You work on different things, but it wasn't a very difficult transition. It was just kind of natural, actually.
Right. Now, going back to your amateur days, I mean, obviously you fought some of the best of the best. You fought Floyd Mayweather, Zahireem. You've been in tournaments where Diego Corrales was there. Mm-hmm. Does that experience help you in the corner with the guys?
For sure. All the experience I had, 136 boxing, 136 amateur fights. I brought all that to this gym with me, and that's what, and me coaching is, I'm basically, when I'm coaching a kid or whatever, even a professional, I just want them to be a better boxer than I was, and I was pretty good. Mm-hmm. But my drive is to make them better. Right. I want somebody to be better than me, and Rico, he surpassed me. Yeah, for sure.
So a story you've told me before. I'm gonna bring it up again. You fought Floyd Mayweather in the semifinals of the Golden Gloves, '96.
National Golden Gloves '96. Yeah.
You guys had a little moment in the elevator at one point. Take us through that.
So we stayed at the same hotel, and I was coming off I got in the elevator, and Floyd Mayweather was in the elevator, and we were riding down together, and he just kept looking at me up and down and talking shit like he always does, saying he's gonna knock me out.
He was the same back then.
Yeah.
Huh?
Oh yeah, he was. Yeah. And I just said, okay, I had nothing to lose. I was just a 17-year-old senior in high school, and on my spring break, I just got the chance to fight Floyd Mayweather. So I had nothing to lose, and my coach told me, you have nothing to lose, just let your hands go after him. So that's what I did.
Fighting big guys, like big names like that, and then seeing what they did, do you look back at your amateur career and be like, man, like I really, did some cool things, experience some stuff?
Amateur boxing was the best years of my life. Mm-hmm. And that's another reason why I love coaching, because I want all these kids in this gym to experience what I got to. It was the best years of my life. And it was a great ride. I got to travel a lot. I made the U.S. team. Mm-hmm. I got to travel all around the country and box everybody, and I just want these kids to have the same experience I did. So that's another reason I come to the gym. So it's
kind of like you lived that experience. So when Rico was winning national championships and other people have gone to different tournaments and stuff, you can kind of guide them through those experiences because you experienced it yourself.
Right. Yeah. My amateur experience really helps me with my coaching ability, I think. Yeah.
Now getting into coaching, what is do you have a particular, I guess style is probably the wrong word, but the way you approach a fight, do you approach each one the same, or do you have to go into it with a different mindset depending on the person?
Depending on the person. I mean, everybody is a little different, but myself and the other coach here, Anthony Mendez, we coach basics, mm-hmm. boxing. It's stick to the basics: the jab, the right hand, the hook. Those three punches are going to win fights for you, and we instill that into these guys, and that's what gets it done for us.
Now you've really engulfed yourself in the boxing community here in Detroit. You know, you help out with the Detroit Golden Gloves, Bridges to Boxing,
Bridges Beyond Boxing.
Bridges Beyond Boxing, excuse me. You know what? I guess that takes a lot of motivation too. So what caused you to dive into that like this? Just taking, because being from Toledo, being an outsider, and being welcomed in Detroit is a hard thing to do.
Oh yeah, it was. I'm grateful that I have the opportunities that I've had here since I moved to Michigan, and like I said, coming from Toledo and moving up here, and I started at this gym right when the gym was just getting off the ground, and you remember we weren't that good.
Right.
The gym
right.
was the laughing stock of Metro Detroit
for a long time.
And we just kept building, kept grinding. You, Dan, you were the first national champion I've ever had.
Mm-hmm.
First national champion coming out of Dynamic Boxing Club. So that's what it was all about. We just kept driving. Yeah,
that was, it's hard to do that when you have, big gyms like, Kronk and, I'm trying to think, Lasky and just these gyms that are so ingrained in the Detroit culture. What do you think it was about the training, the coaching staff here at Dynamic that kept pushing us forward, kept us kind of in the limelight of things and made us relevant?
Paul Soucy was a big part of the gym. He still is to this day. Mm-hmm. Not so much on a personal level, like working with boxers and training, but just him being in the gym every day is an inspiration. He's 85 years old. Mm-hmm. He doesn't miss a day. He's here every day. And with Paul, I followed Paul's lead when I started here coaching here, and we had other coaches along the way, Roger, and many other coaches came through the gym, but we all just kept grinding and kept pushing each other to be better, and then that's where we're at today.
Yeah, no, Paul Soucy is a big name in Detroit boxing. I mean, obviously Livonia Boxing Club, guys like Craig Payne, had a lot of great fighters. What was it like to learn from him and be under his tutelage and just show you how to grow fighters?
Yeah, it was awesome. Paul's been around forever. He's had many champions, amateurs and professionals. So I just slipped right under his wing, and he took me with him everywhere we went. We traveled the country together with this boxing gym, and I picked up little things from him, as well as my coach that coached me as an amateur.
Ray Vargas.
I brought everything to this gym,
Yeah.
So.
Now, training Glass City is also, a big name in Northern Ohio.
Right.
Obviously, Ray Vargas.
The best gym.
The best gym.
It was the best gym. My gym was the best gym.
Dylan and Dallas and Devin Vargas, obviously big name amateurs back in the day, and Devin and Dallas, obviously had good pro careers. Mm-hmm. Being alongside those guys and fighting amateurs, there's like a friendship, a camaraderie, almost like a brotherhood.
Right.
Do you see that with your fighters today in the
for
gym?
Sure. I mean, everybody in here, it's like a family.
Mm-hmm.
You walk into this gym, and it doesn't take you long to be accepted. If you're working hard, just like everybody else, and doing what you're supposed to do, you're going to be part of the family real quick.
Yeah, it's so cool. We were talking before we started recording. It's the first time I've been here in a few years, and guys I haven't seen 10, 15 years still come up remembering me.
Right.
And like you said, the family, just the brotherhood. You get in here, you punch each other in the face, and then you hug each other afterwards.
Right, sure.
It's a different sport.
Definitely.
Is that kind of what grew your love for boxing, seeing things like that, and
right.
just seeing yourself grow?
Yeah, I mean, like through my amateur career, just all my experiences, all the people I met, it's a brotherhood, like you said, it's a family. Mm-hmm. Where I came from, it was a family. When I got here, the gym was brand new, so we had to make our family. We had to grow our family.
Yeah.
And we've done a great job at that. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, we've seen Rico coming through the amateurs, through the pro ranks, and now he's top, almost to the elite level, maybe at the elite level. Right. What do you see, going into this rematch with Peter Mcgrail? How do you feel Rico's handling all the pressure that's new to him?
I think the pressure doesn't bother Rico. He like you said, we've always had our backs against the wall, and we're coming. Mm-hmm. No matter what they put in front of us, we're gonna go after it. But I don't think the pressure really bothers him. But it's gonna be hard over there. We know it's gonna be difficult. We're going to this guy's backyard. All his fans are gonna be there. All his people are gonna be there. We're in another country. It's gonna be good, but we're gonna be prepared.
Right.
We're gonna be very well prepared. So even better than we were last fight. So
now going into this fight, obviously his name's up top now, but it still feels like a B-side mentality. Is that something you guys take into training camp to motivate you? Is that something you don't mind being that B-side, gives that extra?
We don't mind being the B-side. They can put us on any side.
Right.
We're coming to fight, let our hands go, and showcase his skills.
Now, is there anything that maybe like the common fan or the non-fan doesn't see behind the scenes, being not the favorite, not, something that maybe like a little tidbit or something that they wouldn't see, something that you experience, being behind the scenes?
I mean, just being the B-side is, a lot of people don't understand what that means if they're not a big, huge boxing fan or follow boxing. But just being the B-side is, you're going in there, basically you're supposed to lose that fight. You're going in there against the champion like we did, undefeated Olympian. Nobody really heard of Jericho, so when we had our backs to the wall on that fight, and we knew that we were going to have to come out letting our hands go. And finally, in the 5th round, when Rico started letting his hands go, we got the job done. But we want to start a little quicker this next fight. Now that we're going to be in his head, we know this guy. He's going to be thinking about what Rico's going to do to him and not what he's going to do to us. So we're already in his head already because of that last fight, I believe. So
now, we talked earlier, this being in Mcgrail's backyard, do you think that adds more pressure to him?
I believe all the pressure's on him. We have our backs to the wall just going over there, but I think all the pressure's on him. There's a lot of money behind him. Eddie Hearn's got a lot of money behind this kid, and well-deserved. The kid's an Olympian. He's a great boxer. But now, put him in the spotlight after a devastating knockout loss, coming right back in his own backyard, in his hometown, basically in his neighborhood where he lives, is a lot of pressure on him.
Now, like we kind of touched on before, going from local shows to a big matchroom boxing. Matchroom boxing is a big name in the boxing world. Do they treat you like like you're just a regular trainer from Detroit, or has it been a good relationship so far?
I mean, all the guys from Matchroom have been pretty good with us. I mean, I don't know if they treat me any different than they would anybody else, but we're starting to get our name out there now.
Right.
Detroit's back in the boxing business.
Yeah.
And after Tony Harrison won his world title, he put Detroit back on the map after a long time without having a world champion here. Cornelius Bundridge, K9 was got a title before him, but I mean, we're back on the map, and Detroit's back on the boxing map for sure.
And Gordy Russ, Tony Harrison's fighter, fought on the undercard under Rico. Like you said, Detroit boxing is back on the map. Where do you see the future of Detroit boxing going? Do you think it starts and ends with Gordy and Rico, or do you think there's people behind them that can push it?
There's a lot of people coming up.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great, talented amateur boxers here in the city. I'm very fortunate. I get to experience most of them because being the head coach of the Detroit Golden Gloves, most of these amateur boxers come up through the Golden Gloves. And then I'm the head coach of the national team, so when they go to the nationals, I get to work with them side by side, work their corners. We have a lot of talent in the city that is going to keep shining for us.
Yeah, so like you mentioned, the head coach of the Detroit Golden Gloves, you travel every year to nationals. Is it difficult to kind of take over another trainer's fighter and tell them what you need to do, or do you? From being a fighter yourself, do you find it's easier to relate to them and you can kind of gauge what they need?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, especially when you get to the nationals, there might be 10 or 12 boxers on that team. Everybody's different, and everybody has different training habits, different styles. I'm not there to teach them anything. I'm just there to coach them. At that point, there's nothing I can teach them that they're gonna, put together and be able to put in the ring within a couple of days. So I don't try and change anybody's style. I just trying to get them to perform to the best of their ability.
And you've had some pretty good success over the past years. Talk about that a little bit as far as the team.
Since I've been head coach of the Detroit Golden Gloves since 2012 was my first year being the head coach of the Golden Gloves, and since then we've had numerous national champions. We've had numerous silver medals and bronze medals. We've got third place at the nationals
for the team trophy, right?
Team trophy. We've got second place team trophy at the national level. So we've in the last 10, 15 years, we've really put together a great thing here in Detroit.
Now, within that time, within the last 10 to 15 years, like you said, the big name in Detroit boxing was always Kronk, and obviously that's kind of wavered the last 10, 15 years. How do you feel like that's affected Detroit boxing? When we go to these national tournaments, do you feel like Detroit's still underestimated since Kronk has kind of fallen off?
Yeah. When we go to the National Golden Gloves, everybody knows who we are.
Yeah.
We're dressed the best. We're a great team. I mean, even the Kronk name kind of fell off a little bit after Emmanuel passed, but they still produce some great boxers or at the Kronk gym. So, their amateur program's awesome. Now they have a few pros coming out of the Kronk gym. So, our name's, Kronk and Detroit boxing is still up in there, with everybody around the country. So.
Now, walking through here, there's obviously, signs for training camp starting for Golden Gloves. Who else, not only in the gym but in the community, is a big help to the Detroit Golden Gloves? Who else kind of organizes things and makes sure that everything runs smoothly?
So our president of the Detroit Golden Gloves, Ansel Stewart, he's pretty much the head guy of our Golden Gloves franchise, and he's got this thing going like it's never been going before. We have a board of directors or whatever for the Golden Gloves. I'm also on the board as a coach. That's my position on the board. But he's got the Golden Gloves going great. The Detroit Golden Gloves is better in the last 15 years. Is better than it's been in a long time.
Yeah.
And a lot of it I have to attest to Ansel Stewart, and because Ansel Stewart and our board working hard, we're bringing the National Golden Gloves to Detroit, Michigan this year, 2024. It's going to be down at the Cobo Hall.
And that'll be in May?
Yeah, in May.
Okay.
Second week of May.
Very cool. Very cool. I didn't know that, actually.
National Golden Gloves, Detroit, Michigan.
So that's cool. Coming to the Cobo Hall here in May. Plan on having a lot of fighters there, obviously. That'd be, as far as the traveling with everything, do you feel like that'll help our fighters, being in their own backyard, having familiar faces in the stands?
Yeah, of course they're going to have their family and friends are going to be here, because a lot of times when we travel out of the state, wherever the nationals might be, sometimes the family and friends, they can't all make that trip, and sometimes some of their own personal coaches can't make that trip. Obviously, if they can make the trip, they're the ones working the corner. But my position as a head coach is me to step in there if their coach can't be there. So, but everybody's gonna have their own personal coaches here. It's gonna be a great thing for us. Yeah.
Now, something I also want to point out during this interview is all your work here is volunteer. You just love the sport, and you want to help these kids, like you said, be better versions of themselves. Do you kind of get that motivation from your previous coaches in Toledo, watching guys like Paul? We really haven't touched on Ray Vargas in Toledo that much. What did he do in your amateur career that made you want to be a coach and stick around boxing?
He made the gym fun. We worked hard, but he was an old school coach, and we stuck to the basics, and that's what we do here at this gym. We're teaching the basics, and we perfecting the basics. That's what we're going to do. But Ray Vargas was in my corner for all my 136 fights, and he was a lot to me, not only as in the gym but outside the gym. As we got older, we got to hang out more, and more on not a coach boxer relationship, but a friendship, or a father-son almost. He was a great guy. Yep.
Like we said, head coach here at Dynamic Boxing Club, head coach at Detroit Golden Gloves, training pros. What a lot of people may not know is that you have a pretty full-time job too, as a laborer in Detroit. Talk about the juggles of that and how that affects your daily life.
Every day I get up and go to work every morning. I'm a laborer in Detroit Laborers, local 1191. Been in there for 23 years doing that. And so every day after work, I'm coming to the gym. So it's tough, but I enjoy this. So it's not like a job for me.
Right.
I spend a lot of time here, almost like having another job, but it's not a job for me. I have fun, and I get to work with kids, and I love it. Wouldn't trade it for nothing. Now,
you think that, like you've been around Toledo boxing, Detroit boxing, that blue collar mentality, do you think that really, affects the city and affects the boxing community within the city?
Yeah, for sure. It's just with my experience being around, Toledo and Detroit boxing. It just, it's a great thing.
just watching you and Rico like through the years and other fighters from the gym really just take on the hard route. You know, I mean, no one's really had it easy here in a long time. Like you said, Tony Harrison was the most recent world champion. You know, but even he, you know, didn't have a traditional upbringing in the program. You know, he had to bounce around a few before he found his groove. How do you keep motivating fighters to go through those struggles and to you know, show them? Do you use, you know, Tony and K9 like as examples of what can be?
Right. I mean, yeah, just part of being a coach is helping motivate these guys too, because this sport isn't easy. It's physically hard. It's mentally hard. You know, so you have to be the guy to let them lean on you a little bit and you know, just motivate them to keep going even when the time gets tough, or you know, you're in a fight, you take a loss that you thought you should have won.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just tell them to keep their head up, keep grinding. This is no big deal. We're gonna get back. You know.
Yeah.
So
you guys have definitely taken that blue collar mentality into your careers. You know, I was talking to Rico in his interview and just saying that you guys have bounced around to different promoters and things like that. And it seems like now you guys have really found a groove and have a solid team behind you. Who was an addition to the team that really helped you guys out and has helped move you forward to these next level fights?
So I mean, like I said, I've been the head coach at Dynamic Boxing Club, but I'm basically just a face.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many people behind the scenes that deserve even more credit than I do, because without them, I couldn't even do what I do. You know, and that includes Coach Anthony Mendez and Paul Susi and our new manager, Eric Olson from Thomas McGee's. Everybody's just stepping up, and we've had other coaches. Tony Colino has been on our camps before. We've had a great tight-knit group of guys that really make this thing work. And I'm the face of it. I'm the one that's in the corner. I'm in front of the camera, but it's without all those other people behind the scenes, it doesn't happen.
Now, you know, you mentioned Eric Olson, you know, being kind of the manager. How much stress does that alleviate from you, having someone handle that side of the game?
That takes off so much pressure from me and just lets me do what I want to do most, and that's coach and train. You know, so he's got his plate full. It's probably fuller than mine, you know, at times with everything he has to deal with outside of the ring. But yeah, it's a great addition that we have him on our team.
So, you know, we're going into the fight. Your training camp's about to start real soon. You know, do you still feel as confident as you did before the first one?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, we're even more confident.
Mm-hmm.
You know, coming in after that last fight, knowing what happened, you know, seeing what happened and the way we took care of business, we're even more confident coming in there. It's going to be like Rocky going to Russia for us going over to England, because it's going to be pretty hostile over there, I'm pretty sure. But whatever, we're prepared for it, and we trained for it, and we're gonna bring that belt back to Detroit.
All right. Now, looking to wrap this interview up a little bit, do you have a prediction for April 27th?
Yeah, I have a prediction. I think we're gonna get a late stoppage, 7th or 8th round.
All right. Well, you heard it here first, guys. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Chad, thank you for coming down.
Man.
I appreciate
Good
the
seeing you.
time, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thanks.